Hey guys, time to start talking about the SEC. But before I get into specific teams, I just want to mention this. Every single team at this moment is in the top 50 of the national rankings. That tells me two things. One, these teams know how to recruit, and two, they're off to a great start. Okay, let's start off with Alabama and their second-ranked class. They have a 20-man class already. They have 20 kids in their class already. We're in the month of June. They're getting their class done really early right now. Now, they also have a 93 rating. That's a really good ranking for them to have. But it's no surprise. They're one of the best recruiters, if not the best recruiters in the country. They consistently have the top class year in and year out. And this year, they're challenging for it again. They just got to keep doing what they do best, which is recruiting and winning. Let's move on to LSU and their third-ranked class, right behind Alabama with their 17-man class that also has a 93 rating. And LSU, they were one of the top teams in the SEC last year. So what do they have to do? Be one of the top teams in the SEC again. It's about as simple as that. LSU, they are one of the better teams in the SEC. That's not going to change anytime soon. They have some great players, and their recruiting, it's still on par. Georgia's 13-man class is up next. They're ranked 4th overall. So the SEC has the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ranked class. Yeah, we're off to a good start already. And they have a 92 rating. And with this one, they got to keep their top kids at home. Georgia is one of the best states to go get recruits. You look at how many 4-stars that they have, it's a good number. Also, what they have to do, they got to keep winning. Georgia, they have been competing for the college football playoff spot. We're in the college football final. They just got to keep winning, and they're going to be just fine. Up next is Florida's 13-man class that's ranked 7th overall with a 90 rating. Now, for Florida, they're in the same bed as Georgia. Keep your top kids at home. You look at Georgia, they're right up there with both California and Texas as the best recruiting states in the country. And with Florida, you keep a lot of those kids at home, you're going to have a great team already. And just keep finding kids that want to be at Florida. These top-rated kids that want to be at Florida. And I got nothing more to say. Not really a lot to say with these first few classes. Up next is South Carolina's 12-man class that's ranked 12th overall with an 89 rating. Now, the thing with South Carolina is they got to keep competing in the SEC. If they can keep showing kids that they can compete in the SEC, they're going to want to come to them. And they have to be on their commits and their targets. Because with a lot of these kids, trust me, some of them are still going to be talking. Even though they're committed, they're still going to be talking to some schools. You keep on them. Keep showing that you are going to be a big part of this team. South Carolina is going to end up with a really good recruiting class. But they have to be on it. Up next is Mississippi State. They have an 18-man class, 14th overall, 86 rating. Now, their main goal has to be to win the state of Mississippi. If they are able to win the state, they're going to have some really good players. Also, they have to be competing as well. They have to show kids they can compete in the SEC. That's what's going to happen with some of these schools that aren't as big as a Georgia or Alabama or Florida. They have to show that they can compete year in and year out. Up next, Texas A&M. 9-man class, 16th overall, 92 rating. Now, at Texas A&M, they're going to be going up against Texas for the top kids in Texas and a lot of other blue bloods. So, make sure that you can get those kids to come to Texas A&M over Texas and over other blue bloods, and you'll have a great team there. And another one that has to show they can still compete year in and year out in the SEC. I'm going to be saying that a lot. Auburn is up next. 10-man class, 18th overall, 90 rating. Now, Auburn, they're in the same state as Alabama, so they're going to be going up against Alabama for some of the top kids in the state. You got to win some of those battles. You don't have to win them all, just win some of them. You're going to see some fights with them in Alabama for some of the top kids. And with Auburn, they have to have a good season. They're a little up and down when it comes to their seasons. They can either have a great season or like an average season. They have to have a good season. They want to keep fighting for those top kids, especially in their own state. Ole Miss is up next. It's a 13-man class, 22nd overall, 86 rating. Now with Ole Miss, like I talked about Mississippi State, their main goal is going to be to win the state of Mississippi. If they can get some kids away from Mississippi State to them, that's a big win already. but also they have to put the last 2 years behind them. They've had a rough past few years. They have to put that behind them if they want to keep getting good players. Tennessee has a 9-man class that's ranked 27th overall with an 88 rating. Tennessee, it's another school that's going to have to keep their top kids at home. You keep your top kids at home, you're off to a good start already. It's got to be Tennessee's #1 priority. Keeping their top kids at home and continuing to find kids that want to be there. Also with Tennessee, keep getting better on the field. You keep getting better on the field, that shows more to recruits than anything else. You can say all the stuff that you want, but you can't get it done on the field, they're not going to take you seriously. Kentucky's 8-man class is up next. 30th overall, 89 rating. Kentucky, another place that has to keep their top kids at home. When you look at Kentucky's top kids, there's some really good players there. Keep some of those kids at home. Also, keep showing that you can still compete in the SEC. They've had a pretty good past few years in the SEC. Been able to compete. Keep showing that you can do that. Again, you show that you can compete in probably the best conference in college football. That shows recruits more than anything else. Arkansas is up next. It's a 9-man class, 31st overall, 87 rating. Now with Arkansas, they need to find kids that are underrated and are passed over by other big-time teams. If you find kids like that, you're going to reap the rewards because a lot of times those kids turn into some of the best players on your team. Also, they have to find players that are going to fit the team and fit the system. The worst thing you can do in a recruiting class is find kids that don't fit your system. If your kids don't fit your system, there's no point in getting them in the first place. So just find kids that are going to fit that system. Missouri's up next. 8-man class, 36 overall, 86 rating. Now some kids in the state of Missouri, they are highly ranked, and Missouri has to find a way to keep some of those kids at home. If Missouri can find a way to keep those players at home, they'll have some solid foundational pieces for the next few years. Also, another team that needs to get better on the field. Show that you can compete. It's a tough conference, yes, but if you can show that you can compete, those kids are going to want to come and help out. And finally, we have Vanderbilt. This is the only team that is not in the top 40. They are 47th overall with an 8-man class with an 85 rating. Now with Vanderbilt, it's another team that has to show they can compete in the SEC. Yes, I've said that a lot, but with these teams, they have to show they can compete. Alright guys, that was the last of the recruiting series. Since I started doing this, we've seen commits, decommits, we've seen it all since I started doing this. Because in recruiting, nothing is ever set in stone. So I'll be back with doing recruiting when early National Signing Day comes in December. But until then, see you next time.